Do you want a shrimp tank that basically breeds itself? No expensive gear, no complicated chemistry, just a simple setup that works. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to build the perfect Neocaridina shrimp aquarium and how to create the kind of environment where your shrimp feel comfortable enough to breed constantly. If you follow this properly, you won't need to force anything. The shrimp will do all the work for you. First, let's talk about why Neocaridina shrimp are so popular. These are some of the easiest shrimp you can keep. They are hardy, adaptable, and perfect for beginners, but also enjoyable for experienced hobbyists because of how active and colorful they are. But there's one key idea that matters more than anything else. And if you understand this, everything becomes much easier. Shrimp don't need perfect water. They need stable water. A lot of beginners make the mistake of chasing exact parameters, trying to hit some perfect pH or hardness number. But constant adjustments and sudden changes are exactly what the stress shrimp out. In reality, slightly imperfect but stable conditions are far better than perfect numbers that keep changing. If your tank stays consistent, your shrimp will stay healthy. And when shrimp feel safe and healthy, they naturally start breeding. Now let's build the tank itself. You don't need anything large or complicated. A small tank works, but in general, a slightly bigger tank is more stable and easier to manage. Something around 40 liters or 10 US gallons is a great starting point. For substrate, keep things simple and predictable. Use inert sand or gravel. These don't affect your water chemistry, which makes everything much easier to control. Avoid active substrates that lower pH or change hardness. Those are useful for other type of shrimp, but for Neocaridina, they usually create unnecessary instability. Next, add some hardscape like rocks or driftwood. This isn't just decoration. These surfaces grow beneficial bacteria and biofilm, which shrimp constantly graze on. Think of every surface in your tank as potential feeding area. At this stage, simplicity is your best friend. The more complicated your setup is, the more things can go wrong. Now let's talk about the most important part of successful shrimp tank: plants. If you want your shrimp to breed and your babies to survive, plants are absolutely essential. Moss is one of the best things you can add. Java moss, Christmas moss, anything similar works perfectly. These create dense, tangled areas where baby shrimp can hide from danger and find food. And that food is biofilm, tiny microorganisms that grow on surfaces. For baby shrimp, biofilm is their main food source. Floating plants are also a great addition. They help stabilize the water, absorb excess nutrients, and create a more natural environment. You can also include easy plants like Anubias or Java fern. These don't require much maintenance and provide even more surface area for biofilm to grow. A good way to think about it is this: if your tank looks a bit overgrown, you are probably doing it right. Shrimp thrive in an environment that feels dense, natural, and full of life. Now let's simplify water parameters. Neocaridina shrimp are very forgiving, but there are some general ranges that work well. Temperatures between 20 and 24 degrees Celsius is ideal. A pH somewhere between roughly 7 and 8 works for most setups. Moderate hardness, so not extremely soft, not extremely hard. But again, don't get stuck chasing exact numbers. What matters most is that your parameters don't swing suddenly. Stability is what keeps shrimp alive and comfortable. Always use dechlorinated water when doing water changes. And when you introduce new shrimp, take your time acclimating them. A slow drip acclimation is one of the safest methods because it gradually matches the water conditions. If you avoid sudden changes, your shrimp will adapt very well, even if your parameters aren't perfect on paper. Next, let's talk about filtration. The best choice for a shrimp tank is a sponge filter. It's simple, reliable, and almost perfectly suited for this type of setup. Sponge filters create gentle water flow, which shrimp prefer, and most importantly, they are completely safe for baby shrimp. Unlike stronger filters, there's no risk of shrimplets being sucked in. But there's another big advantage. Sponge filters grow biofilm. That means your filter is constantly producing a natural food source for your shrimp. So instead of just cleaning the water, it's also helping feed your colony. In a well-established tank, shrimp will spend a lot of time grazing directly on the filter. Once your tank is fully set up and cycled, it's time to add your shrimps. Start with a group of around 10 to 20 shrimps. This increases your chances of having a good mix of males and females, which is important for breeding. When it comes to feeding, less is more. Shrimp naturally feed on biofilm, algae, and microorganisms in the tank, so they don't need large amounts of added food. Overfeeding is one of the most common mistakes, and it can quickly lead to poor water quality. If your setup is stable and your shrimps are comfortable, breeding will happen on its own. You might notice females developing what's called a saddle, which is a cluster of eggs forming inside their bodies. After that, you'll see buried females. That means they are carrying eggs under their tails. A few weeks later, tiny baby shrimp will appear. And once that cycle starts, it tends to continue. A healthy colony will gradually grow without much intervention. Before we finish, let's go through a few common mistakes that can prevent your shrimp from thriving. The first is overfeeding. It's very easy to do and it often causes more harm than good. The second is doing large or sudden water changes. Big changes can shock shrimp even if the new water looks perfect on paper. Smaller but consistent changes are much safer. Another mistake is adding fish too early. Many fish will eat baby shrimp, which can stop your colony from growing or even wipe out the new generation completely. And finally, constantly adjusting your water parameters. This creates instability, which is exactly what your shrimps don't want. Most shrimp losses don't come from slightly imperfect conditions. They come from sudden changes. If you avoid these mistakes, you are already ahead of most beginners. So, to sum it all up, keep your setup simple, keep your environment stable, and focus on creating a natural plant-filled tank. If you do that, your shrimp will feel safe, they'll stay healthy, and they'll start breeding on their own. Once everything is balanced, the tank becomes very low maintenance and your colony will continue growing with minimal effort. Thank you for watching, staying until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.